Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at your weekend forecast for October 20th through the 22nd. And unfortunately, like has happened for a lot of the last few weeks of the fall, we do not have great news in terms of what the weather actually looks like this weekend. I'm sure you're aware, but it's not looking great. All right, let's take a look at why this is happening. Winter storm setup, this would be great if we're looking for a snowstorm. But we're not looking for a snowstorm, and obviously we'd have track issues and all those kinds of things. But in terms of for us, it's just going to be rain. Makes the forecast easier because snowfall forecasts are always complicated. This is not quite so complicated, but the overall picture is one for rain. So what's happening here? We have, and we're going to look at this in several different ways, but we have a bunch of upper level energy. That's energy at the upper levels of the atmosphere, providing lift and providing basically a trigger for a storm. We have a little bit of coastal temperature gradient, not as much as we have in the winter, because while the ocean waters are still relatively warm, and they are warmer than over the land here, it's not, the difference is not as drastic as we get when we get Arctic air moving across the continent heading towards the coast in the middle of the winter, but still a decent amount. We've got subtropical jet stream. This will become a big factor for a lot of the winter potentially. In terms of El Nino, certainly an active subtropical jet stream is one of the most consistent things that happens during El Nino, so we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the winter. And then we also had a little bit of kind of leftover moisture and surface low pressure kind of way off the coast of the southeast for the last few days. That's all sort of coming together to develop a storm that is rapidly developing and heading in our direction, and is going to drop a bunch of rain, a little bit of wind. It's not crazy on the wind. Sunday on the back side of it will be breezy. It'll feel like after a snowstorm. We've got those breezy northwest winds, and we'll have some wraparound moisture that day. That could be a couple of flakes of snow way up in elevation above 3,000 feet, 3,500 feet. So like at the top of Stratton, top of Okemo, could get a few flakes mixed in, not a lot, but nothing, probably not even enough to coat the ground up there, but nothing to worry about. But just a reminder that we are midway through October now, heading towards the end of October. And of course, the further we get in October, the closer we get towards potential actual snow. So this will not be that though. Okay. Let's take a look at radar. You can see here's our surface low pressure system associated with all that upper level energy to its west. And you can see there's a pretty good front here, again, providing the trigger for what will really become our storm that is really developing here, this low pressure system off the coast. Again, this would be a pretty classic winter setup. You kind of have a Clipper style system diving and kind of dying as it hits the Rockies, redeveloping a system off the coast. And if we had cold air in place here, we would be getting lots of snow. That's not happening, of course, even though I keep saying it's like a winter storm. So this system is going to ride up the coast and provide us with a lot of rain. And it looks like the heaviest of the rain actually will be pretty much situated over the top of us here in southern Vermont, where we are looking at probably about 1.5 to 3 inches of rain in total. Let's take a closer look at that radar. And you can see we're okay this morning. Most of this is not hitting the ground yet. And actually, it's this area here that we're actually looking at, and kind of more the area over New Jersey as it kind of continues to blossom and heads in our direction. That'll be our rain this afternoon. That'll be more showery before the whole system consolidates and we get steady, heavy rain overnight tonight into tomorrow. That's when the bulk, basically probably from about 8, 9 o'clock tonight through about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. That's when the bulk of the rain falls, and we get 1.5 to 3 inches of rain. Not quite enough to cause any kind of flooding issues. Thankfully, we have been, things are not overly wet out there, although there's still plenty of the water table still very high. But 3 inches of rain in a 24-hour period is not enough to cause big issues. Certainly the roads will be wet, and and the rivers will come up, but it won't be the kind of thing that causes any of the kind of problems that we had over the summer, thankfully. But still definitely not great for outdoor activities tomorrow. And whatever's left of the foliage will definitely kind of continue to push the leaves down, although we're mostly past peak in southern Vermont anyway, although it's still pretty out there, usually is. Here's the upper level, the vorticity map, which is the measure vorticity, which is the different shades. The more, the darker the shade here, or the more vibrant the shade, the more vorticities in the atmosphere. Vorticity is a measure of spin or upward vertical motion, basically, in the atmosphere. And so it's kind of a way to do that over at a particular point. And so when you see that, it basically equates to where where it's moving to is where storms are developing. And so you see you got a lot of it here, and it's starting to trigger and increase rapidly over the southeastern or just off the coast here of the Carolinas. That's what's going to happen. Storm moves north, and that's what gives us our rain and our system this weekend. So behind us, though, big ridge, and that will eventually become a part of our weather for early next week. So even though the rain this weekend is going to be significant and will continue really all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in some form, as we head into next week, we do have a break in the weather, much like it's been lately here. Weeks have been nice, weekends not so great. So let's take a look at that forecast for the week here. Today, I should say, we're looking at that afternoon rain. Should be, we could even see a peak or two of sun this morning. That'll be very brief clouds. And then basically anytime afternoon showers, could be some heavier downpours, but they should be kind of transitory in nature. So not like heavy, steady rain for hours on end, but definitely some soggy weather this afternoon. It gets worse overnight tonight with heavy rain, pretty steady heavy rain overnight tonight. This is when the heaviest for the most sustained rain happens, and that rain continues into Saturday. Probably not quite as heavy tomorrow, but certainly some chances for some heavier rain tomorrow. By afternoon, we start to taper to some more kind of lighter rain or kind of drizzle situation. We could have a bit of a break between then and Saturday night, but chances for continued light rain as the waves of things kind of move through and as we kind of get on the backside of the storm. So I wouldn't even kind of rule out the chances for rain to continue into Saturday night. Temperatures fall back into the mid-40s. Sunday is a raw day. On the backside, we are going to try to tap a little bit of cooler air to our north and west. It'll be kind of breezy on Sunday and sprinkles. Should be not quite as consistent with the rain, and the rain will be lighter on Sunday, although it's still going to be pretty gray, still going to be a decent amount of rain, still going to be very soggy. So you can try to get out and find a drier time to get out there and enjoy, but it's probably not going to be great. Temperatures in the upper 40s. Like I said, it's going to feel kind of raw. We fall back. Clouds still lingering around Sunday night into Monday. Finally, I think on Monday we'll start to see some breaks in the clouds. Temperatures in the mid-40s. Yeah, so not great, unfortunately. As we take a quick look at those weekend highlights, very soggy weekend. Friday morning should be dry, but after that, no long dry stretches of weather this weekend. Gusty winds on Sunday afternoon, just to kind of mention those. Like I said, Sunday will feel raw. Friday afternoon through Saturday afternoon brings 1.5 to 3 inches of rain, and Sunday brings more showery weather instead of steady rain. So that's what's going on. Not the best forecast. If this was a winter storm, we'd be talking about a foot to maybe 2, maybe even 2.5 feet of snow out of this. So, if you're wanting that snow, then you can wish this happened 2 months from now. And if you're not, you can be thankful that it's not happening 2 months from now. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. If you're interested in becoming a patron, you can check the link in the description below. It describes some of the advantages of that. Otherwise, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel before, I'd encourage you to do so. Helps make sure you don't miss any of my videos. I'll be back on Monday with a look at your work.